Yo, what's up, people? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, IFBB PRO and today we're going to be talking about a quick fix or two quick fixes at that that'll help you sort of be able to get your training in and also get your food in if you struggle with time. All right, so stick around, stay tuned. That's the theme of today's episode. It'll be very short and sweet. It'll be quick. I'm just going to be giving you guys and girls the value, then dipping out and crushing legs because who the fuck doesn't want to start legs on a Monday, right? You got to start off your week strong. All right, so as usual, guys and girls, when you do join TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everybody, when you do join, you are welcome to ask questions and drop comments as I go along through the podcast. And at the end, if I've got any time, I'm going to respond to you guys and girls. So without wasting any time, let's dive into the podcast episode recording. Yo, long time. How's it been? It's been great, bro. Super fucking busy. How have you been? Hit me up. Let me know what's up. Just, drop the comments as we go along. And I'll be getting into today's podcast episode. And if you think of anything, if you have any ideas or questions as I go along, feel free to drop them and we'll chime in at the end. All right. So without wasting any time, we're going to get into this one short and sweet in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yo, what's good, meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day, and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your returning champion, IFBB PRO coming at you with another topic. And today, I'll be giving you a quick fix that'll help you, especially when you have no time to eat or train. Okay, so if you're a busy person, if you've got kids, if you've got other obligations or responsibilities like work, maybe you work 8 to 12 plus hours, and you always find that you're pressed for time, this is the episode for you. Okay, so don't forget to screenshot and share this podcast on your IG story if you're watching this on Instagram. If you're watching this on TikTok, just drop a comment. You know what time it is. Give me a follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the sub. All right, people, let's dive into the meat and potatoes. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's just pick a random scenario. You're coming home from work. You work 12 hours, 8 hours, maybe, however long it was. You had a busy fucking day at work and you have to train in order to fulfill your goal of, I don't know, maybe losing 15 pounds, 20 pounds by the end of the year or the end of 6 months. So you have a goal and you want to train. You want to be able to eat healthy and you want to be able to do the things that you need to do in order to get those results. But you have this one issue, and this one issue always pops up every single day, no matter what day it is. Maybe it's because of work. Maybe it's because of, when you go home, you got kids to deal with, or you got to pick up your kids from piano lessons or whatever the situation is. And this issue is time. You never have enough time. And it's not that you're willing to make the excuse and say, oh, I'm not going to do it because I don't have time. But you notice that, you want to do the thing. And as you get towards doing the thing, going closer to it, you realize, shoot, maybe I'm going to have to cut out these certain things in order to fit it into my schedule. Or maybe I won't be able to do X, Y, and Z when it comes to eating or preparing a meal because of the time that I have left. And you're willing to do whatever you can with the time, but you still kind of feel like it's not enough. All right. So today in this episode, what I'm going to do is basically give you a quick fix that's going to help you do enough when it comes to eating and when it comes to training on those days where you are just so pressed for time that you can't get anything done. Okay. And again, this is geared towards the people that are actually willing to use the small amount of time that they do have instead of using that as an excuse to say, well, it's such a small amount of time anyway. What's the point of going to the gym? Or it's such a small amount of time anyway. What's the point of preparing a meal? Right. So if your mindset is the opposite of, oh, it's such a small amount of time, won't matter, then this is for you. All right. So if you're willing to do anything with the spare 5 minutes that you've got, this is for you. So listen up. We know that eating can be time consuming. Cooking can be even more time consuming. We know that, right? Especially when you're rushing to and from work. You want to hit the gym quickly. So I understand. In order to actually succeed in whatever fitness goal that you have to quote unquote make the time, right? And you'd have to successfully prepare your meals in advance, or you live like a slave in the kitchen in the gym every day, right? We just talked about that. But today we're going to be breaking down this one quick hack, okay? Something that I've used when I'm in a time crunch and when I don't have all my meals prepped and I'm like in between meal prep and I have nothing on hand and I'm in a time crunch and I'm on my way to the gym. So the main thing that I struggle with when I don't have a meal on hand is making sure that I'm hitting my calories and macros for as many meals as I possibly can, right? And one thing that's always held me before I even turned pro, even as an amateur, just as a guy who's just trying to change my body and build muscle, was something that I know is often overlooked simply because it's not really viewed as a meal. It's viewed more as like a beverage or a dessert, but I call them liquid meals. Okay. Liquid meals. And no, not the kinds you feed babies or old folks, like what I'm talking about is a liquid meal, which is essentially anything that you can drink that has protein, carbs, and fats, right? Because what makes a meal? Protein, carbs, and fats, and of course, calories. Tell you how much of that meal that you're having, or how much you should or shouldn't be having, based off of your overall caloric goals, right? So, a liquid meal, all right, is a liquid that contains protein, carbs, and fats. That's my definition of it. All right. And in my books, and I'm sure you guys and girls can relate to this in your life, you can probably rationalize using the blender for about 5 minutes to, prepare something very quickly, right? It takes literally 5 minutes. You get the things, you throw them in the blender, you hit the blend, and that's it, right? It's done in 5 minutes. Also, it saves a lot of energy on the digesting side of things because you don't really have to chew much, given that the food is already blended up and ground up. The chewing aspect is pretty much out the window, which saves you time when it comes to eating, not just preparing the meals, right? Because drinking is a lot faster than eating. All right. It takes about 5 minutes to make and even less time to consume since there's no chewing, right? All you need is this. This is the hack. All right, guys and girls, pull out your pad and your pen, or you might just want to replay this segment of the episode. Follow these steps. This is something super quick. You should have these things at home if you are already, leading a healthy lifestyle, or at least attempting to lose weight or put on some muscle. So these things are things that you should be able to find in your counter like that. All right. And if you don't have them, it's not the end of the world. Grab them. It'll save your fucking life if you have them on hand, and you can use it sparingly to create a quote unquote liquid meal to make up for the rest of the meals that you would have to make up for in any given day or on any given day, and the calories as well. So, number one, bananas and strawberries. Actually, what I do personally, and you might not have to do this personally, um, I would put 200 grams of bananas in a blender, 200 grams of frozen strawberries inside the blender as well, and then about 60 grams of whey isolate powder, right? And this is whey isolate, not mass gainer. You can use mass gainer if you are somebody that is growing and you have a lot of calories to consume for your day. But whey isolate, you're doing that for the protein. So, it's pretty low calories. And if you're losing fat, it's going to definitely benefit in your overall journey because, again, you're helping getting that protein intake up without many calories and with little to no carbs, because in whey isolates they usually come with like 1 gram or close to 0 grams of carb per scoop. So 2 scoops is about, let's say, 50 grams of protein. All right, say it's 25 grams of protein a scoop. 2 scoops, which is 60 grams in total, right? Because 30 each. That's going to bring you to 50 grams of protein. Okay, so then now that you've got the 50 grams of protein there, right? You've got your carbs from the bananas. You can just add some water, or honestly, you can even use some almond milk, depending on what your calories save for you in that day. If you have some calories to spare, definitely make it thicker. Put some almond milk in there. Put some, 2% milk in there. Of course, keep it measured, and have it the way that you want it. And of course, make sure that it fits with your overall caloric requirements in order to either gain muscle or to burn fat. And you can throw some ice in there if you really want to as well for the texture. But what does that sound like? That sounds like a smoothie. That sounds like a protein shake. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. A liquid meal is pretty much like a buffed up protein shake, a protein shake that you use a blender to help complete, right? By throwing the extra carbs in there, the banana and the strawberries, and then also the 60 grams of the protein powder, as well as, you can use 500 milliliters water or 500 milliliters of, any milk of your choice, as long as it's abiding by your caloric requirements, right? Takes about 5 minutes to prepare and about less, like half that time to consume if you're really in a pinch. Of course, I'm not going to tell you to chug a whole entire shake, right? But if that's something that you can do, and if you're in a fucking time pinch, it's an option, right? And it may not be a beef and potatoes meal, but in that, what I just mentioned, in that little liquid meal that I mentioned, you still get about 50 grams of protein, which is going to help you put on muscle because we all know protein is the muscle food. You're still going to get about 60 grams of carbs, which is going to definitely give you the energy that you're going to need in order to push hard in the gym. All right. And you're getting those carbs from the bananas and the strawberries. Again, fructose, wholesome, good carbs, right? You want those. And also, you're still getting trace amounts of fat. Okay. And that's pretty much throughout your day. If you snack on nuts or anything else that you have on hand that you don't really have to cook, that you don't have to really worry about the amount of fats that you're consuming in that meal because it's very hard to actually get quite a bit of fats in that meal. But outside of that, your protein and carbs are taken care of. And as long as you're respecting your caloric requirements, that's fine. Again, this is done on a pinch. This is not something you should like rely on doing every single day. This is something that you should rely on only if you need to, when you need to, on those specific days, right? Because I'm still an advocate for whole meals overall, because you're getting a lot more nutrition diversity in that. You're also getting again micronutrient diversity with a bunch of extra vitamins and so on and so forth that you can only get really from the whole foods that you eat, right? And also uh, your ability to digest, although it may be a little bit more difficult if you're not chewing efficiently. If you chew efficiently and secrete the amount of saliva that you need to secrete to put all over your food before you swallow it, that's going to aid in your body's ability to deal with your digestive enzymes and hopefully maintain good bacteria health inside your guts and all that stuff, right? So it's still very important to chew and swallow as opposed to just drinking liquid meals. Like I wouldn't just say switch it out, but it is definitely a tool now that you have in your back pocket for those days where you're super freaking pressed for time and you don't know how you're going to get X amount of macros in, and you only have literally 5 to 10 minutes to consume and cook this or prepare this meal. So that's definitely a trick up your sleeve. And like doing, if you did exactly what I mentioned, 200 grams bananas, 200 grams strawberries, 60 grams whey isolate, and a little bit of water, no milk, whatever, 500 milliliters water, it's about like 470 calories. It's like less than 500 calories, right? For a meal with 50 grams of protein, right? And you can drink it and it goes down super quick. So it's a hack, right? It's not something that I expect you to rely on, but it is a quick fix. All right. And we all know you cannot rely on quick fixes all the time. Otherwise, you will be breaking down the machine. All right. Quick fixes are only quick fixes for that moment. Okay. And you know what? Like, I decided, since we talked about, a quick nutrition hack, I'll give you a quick training hack here for when you're pressed for time too, as well. Something that you can apply to every workout that will help you get into the gym and get out of the gym as fast as possible, understanding that you've got to maybe pick up the kids or do something, you've got a project to work on, whatever it is. Okay. And this is perfect for people who are on the fly and, pretty much are always pressed for time. All right. This is something you can apply to every single workout. Okay. So let me give you a quick workout hack that takes at least 45 minutes on a busy gym day to crush, regardless of the muscle that you're hitting. Okay. And this hack, guys and girls, this training hack, this quick workout hack, this quick fix goes as such. Okay. So number one, whenever you get into the gym and it's super busy and you've got no time, always use pin loaded machines. Forget the compounds for that day. Again, this is a quick fix. This is not what I recommend you do all the time. Okay. So by doing that, you can, do multiple sets without spending the time putting on and removing plates and all that stuff. Right. So literally moving a pin versus putting on plates on each side and taking it off and using the safety clips and all that stuff, and maybe even waiting for the compound, like all that stuff is out the window when you're using plate loaded machines. Okay, and do no more than 3 sets per machine. Again, this is if you want to get in and out quickly, like you've got zero time flat, like you showed up, because if you didn't show up, you'd be mad at yourself, type of thing. All right, so this will save you time and keep you moving to other machines to hit every other muscle on that day. And since you're not going to be doing a lot of sets, one thing that I recommend is that you keep the weight medium to heavy in terms of challenging for yourself. Like I'll say like challenging enough where where it feels difficult at 12 reps, but light enough where if you really, really pushed and spent it all, maybe on the last set, you could get 20 reps. So keep the reps high between 12 to 20, and whatever weight that you can feel that you can get that much for with putting 100% on the line, that's what I'd recommend doing. All right. You're there for a good time, not a long time, when you're using this quick fix, that is. Otherwise, you're there for pretty much a balance of both. If you're truly training to improve your physique, whether it's to burn fat, whether it's to put on muscle, you've got to put some time in there, right? Make full use of the small sets by pushing for as many reps as possible and get the best bang for your buck when you're pressed on time. And like you'll notice, once you hit about 30 minutes of working out with, just going through the machines, you could literally spare the last 15 minutes with cardio, right? And that will ensure that you leave after only 45 minutes of physical activity while killing all birds with the same stone. All right. So 30 minutes of blasting through the machines as fast as you possibly can. Okay. But still making it as challenging as possible for yourself. And then at the 30-minute marker, hop off 50 minutes of cardio and you fly out. 45 minutes, one and done. Two birds, one stone. And then assuming that you had no time to prepare any meals and you were in between meal prep, that liquid meal should have saved your ass. All right. But a little disclaimer here, you don't want to drink that meal too quickly or too close to the time you're training. If anything, have half of it before your workout and the other half at the end of your workout, just so that you're not bloated while you're pushing yourself as fast as possible, because that will make you nauseous. Fluids will make you nauseous if you have a lot of it in your stomach and you're pushing as hard as you can. All right. So hope that post saved your life today, this Monday. Right. I know it's going to be a busy day for a lot of you guys and girls that are hustling, that are, they're getting ready for the gym and doing all the things they need to do in order to be upright and on track and aligned with their fitness goals. I hope this saved your ass if you are a little bit behind schedule and you're not perfect, which I'm not either. All right. So that's it. That's all. Those are the quick hacks, right? Those are the two quick hacks for eating and for training when you're on a time pinch. You've got no time to eat, you've got no time to train. Those are the things that you should do on those days, not every day, but on the days where you actually have no time. All right, enough talking. Let's go get these gains. You have enough time now. That's it. That's all. If you like this episode, share it out with a friend. I hope I was able to deliver a valuable experience to you guys and girls today. Let's embrace your inner meathead together. All right. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB PRO Matt Butale signing out. Boom. All right, folks. Podcast episode recorded. I'm going to hit the gym real soon after I look at some of the comments and or questions. So no questions, but shout out to everybody that joined on Instagram here, YouTube. You know what time it is. TikTok. She says, yo, I wish I could stay, but I can't. I do listen to the podcast. I appreciate you, homie. I appreciate you. Yes, the podcast is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Meathead on the mic. Check it out. This is episode number 86, and we'll be doing a giveaway at episode number 100. So stay tuned. All right. Show support, show love, show up to every episode, as many as you can. And if you're showing out and you're showing love, I'll just honestly 100 for 100. I have the 100th episode of the podcast going up, and I'm going to give away $100 US just to give back and show you all some support. Logan says, absolutely love the beer, but any tips for somebody who's struggling to stop eating junk food? So I appreciate it. I appreciate the beard comment. I try. So stop eating junk food. So it's an addiction, right? If you struggle with it and like you've been eating junk food your entire life, you have to understand that it's actually an addiction, and you should treat it as if you would treat any other addiction. For most people, cutting cold turkey is not really an option because it just makes you crave the thing even more. So slowly stopping eating junk food is like your best bet, right? And that means starting to cook at home. And you may not get to the point where you can just like automatically meal prep and be okay with it. You know what I mean? But working towards that point is definitely ideal, right? So learn, or at least if you can remember, Logan, the foods that you actually like to have at home or that you like home cooked, prepare those meals, right? I'm not saying eat them all the time. Have your junk food for a little bit of the time. When I say a little bit, I mean literally. If you can, if you're really addicted and you can't go a day without it, then every other day you can eat junk, but try to, slowly phase out junk with the food that you actually like, that tastes good, that is healthy, that you can cook at home, right? Because you can't just like not eat junk food and then expect never to eat it again. Like, it doesn't work that way, right? Even I eat junk food. I actually still kind of like it. I do like it, right? But I don't eat it all the time, right? It's the other way around. 80% of the time I'm eating clean. 20% of the time I'm eating whatever the fuck I want, right? And you are probably in the other scenario. Or at least I would hope that you gain the ability to get to 20% of eating clean and then 80% of eating like crap, so that you can slowly start to reverse those numbers. 30% eating like clean, 70% eating like crap, 40% eating clean, 60% eating like crap, and then you're 50-50 one day. And then when you're 50-50, you start to see the results really kick in, and then that helps you break over. And maybe one day you can actually achieve the 80-20 rule, which is eating clean 80% of the time, home cooked meals that you know the calories and the macros, and they're helping you actually get to your goal, and they're serving you, right? And then 20% of the time just giving into the cravings, because not only because you've earned it, but because it's not going to actually affect you based off of your consistency with being 80%, if that makes sense. So I hope that makes sense for you, bro. Politic Convict says, pump and flush or constant blood flowing through the body, which is better? Pump and flush, or I don't know what you mean by that, by constant blood flow through the body. I mean, if you're working out, you're working out, man. I'm not too sure what you mean by the pump and flush there. I appreciate the follow though. I don't know what you mean by the pump and flush. If you mean by like just working out and then getting cold and then going on and off that way versus just constantly going through it, I would say constantly go through it, not only because it saves more time, but because you're also going to be burning more calories, right? And you want to be like, that's the point of training. You want to burn some calories. You want to tear up the muscle fibers, make it as stressful as you possibly can maintain or handle, and then focus on recovery after. I wouldn't try to focus on too much on recovery while I'm in the gym, literally ripping the muscle fibers apart. The most I'll do maybe is make sure that I'm warmed up or stretched well enough in advance. But pretty much recovery and the exercise stay for the most part separate, unless we're talking about rest in between sets, and just doing dynamic movements to loosen up that biomechanical range of motion. Hope you have a wonderful day. I appreciate you, bro. Looking mad cute today, homie. Appreciate you, Ryan. You know what time it is, brother. Much fucking love, my dude. All right, people. That's it. That's all. We'll be back again tomorrow with another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. I appreciate y'all. We're at about 100 likes over here on TikTok, and I just see you people. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and I'm grateful that y'all show up. Hopefully, if you needed this advice, it came clutch, and I hope you actually use it if you needed it. All right. But outside of that, peace, love, and motherfucking protein. IFBB Pro Matt Butale signing out. Boom.